Well, hello and an extremely warm welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you're a returning viewer, and an equally warm welcome if you're watching my channel for the very first time. So I am sat here absolutely deluged, swamped, I don't know what the word is, by books. I can hardly move, and it's an absolutely revolting day outside. The rain, it looks like it's crying against the windows, and I'm feeling really quite smug despite that, because I took myself off to the swimming pool, which is a bit of a faff where I live because the nearest pool is about half an hour's drive away, so very lucky that I can drive and have a vehicle. But I got myself off to the local pool, and I haven't been to do serious swimming since before COVID, so I thought that it would be a real effort and I'd find it really hard. And I actually swam, ladies and gentlemen, 60 lengths today, so I'm really chuffing myself. A bit annoyed because I came home, did the maths, and realised that I was 4 lengths short of a mile, so I'm going to have to do better. I'm going to try and go again next week, but I absolutely loved it. I'd forgotten how wonderful it is to be in the water and how your brain just goes to another space. But I'm quite proud of myself because I feel like I must have kept myself pretty fit. I do lots of walking and I do some workouts on YouTube as well, but we won't go into that. Yeah, no, so I'm feeling quite proud of myself today, and I thought, what can I do this afternoon that'll be all sort of snuggly and nice in the rain? And I thought, I know, I will do my latest book haul, because I've realised, looking through this pile, that I don't think I've done one perhaps since October. Mind you, it is now, yeah, no, it's December now, isn't it? So I suppose this is my November autumnish book haul. It feels like a long time. And I didn't realise, as usual, I didn't realise that I'd acquired quite so many books this month. So off we go, and there are some belters here, I have to say. I'm feeling really lucky. So the first one I bought from the lovely bookshop in Bridgnorth, which I love. There's another one in Oswestry as well. This is my local bookshop, and I went there on National Bookshop Day for a visit, and this was the book I chose, and it's The Modern Fairies by Clare Pollard, and I can't wait to see this. It's a beautiful edition, and it's one of those books that I've been picking up and putting down for a while, thinking, can I justify getting it in hardback? And then I realised I got a £10 book token, so I was able to justify it to myself. And so I bought myself a copy of this, and I'm so looking forward to this because I read her novel Delphi a few years ago. I really enjoyed it, and I think this is going to be great because I think it's a modern retelling of fairy stories. It's going to have that sort of vibe about it, and I think I'm going to be in a very safe pair of hands. So very pleased to pick that up. And then I have got Moon Road by Sarah Leipciger. I know nothing about this book at all, except that I quite like the cover. The cover sort of says something slightly mysterious, something very contemporary to me. It doesn't say much on the back at all, except it says it's tough, tender and wonderful. I know nothing about the writer. This was passed on to me by Simon, my son, Simon Savage. It's got lots of nice reviews on the back. In fact, I think, yes, one of them is by, oh no, it's Claire Fuller, not Clare Pollard. See, I haven't got my glasses on. Rachel Joyce loved it, but I know nothing about what it's about or anything. It's irksome to her how well she knows this man, how much he's changed and how exactly the same he is. Ooh, I don't know. So I think this is going to be some sort of relationship drama, but I really like, it's funny, isn't it, how sometimes I want to read this right now, this minute. I'm not going to, because it feels so nice in my hand. It's just the right weight. It's got really nice font. I feel as though it's going to be quite a page turner. I'm not sure, but anyway, I really like the look of that. And then also there's a lot of books on this pile that have been gifted to me by Simon. This one, Kate Mosse, The Map of Bones. Again, I can't wait to sit and read this, and maybe over the Christmas period that's what I will do, because this is this is the final novel in Kate Mosse's Joubert series. I don't know whether she calls them that. I think they're called something else. But this takes us to South Africa in 1688. And I just have really, really enjoyed these books. And if you like historical fiction and you haven't read any of these, if you want a book to just curl up with, to transport you to a different era with lots of adventure and a very gutsy female protagonist, this is absolutely what you need. She's putting the feminine back into history, giving women a voice, and sending them on some really swashbuckling but very gripping adventures. Swashbuckling but swashbuckling and then I had a visit to Oxford at some point. Maybe that was the beginning of November. I can't even remember now. It's terrible. And had a lovely day with my lovely niece, and obviously found myself stumbling into Blackwell's while she was at a lecture at uni. And I have been wanting this book for ages, and I just thought this was a beautiful, beautiful edition. Safiya Sinclair's Cannibal. Now, she was shortlisted for the Women's Prize for Non-Fiction, the inaugural one last year, with her book How to Say Babylon, which I absolutely adored. And ever since I read it, I've been wanting to read some of her poetry. So now I can, because I have this lovely thing in my possession. And I also picked up Two in the Tower by Thomas Hardy. I've got a real hankering for some Victorian literature. I just adored Thomas Hardy when I was younger. There aren't many of his books that I haven't read, but I know this is one of them. And I suppose I was quite jammy because I try really hard to choose books for the Savage Prompts, which are our read-along that we do. We've done it a couple of years now, Simon Savage and I, my son. And the whole idea is to approach your bookshelves or your local library shelves or your bookshop shelves differently. And each month there's a prompt suggested by you lovely people. And I just really, really enjoy it. I wasn't sure to start with what I thought of this concept, but actually it's brilliant. It makes you look at your bookshelves in a different way. It makes you choose books differently. And I've almost finished the prompts. I've got December's left. And then there was a bonus prompt, which was to read a book with a 2 or a 4 in the title, because of course it's 2024. And I actually didn't have a single book on my shelf that I hadn't read that fulfilled that brief. So I thought, I know there's a Hardy book I haven't read. So I actually did seek this out in Blackwell's for that purpose. And I'm very, very much looking forward to reading it. And I think I will probably get it started. I can't get my words out now. Hopefully get it started next week. That is my plan. And then Simon was off to some Faber event recently and came home with a goodie bag for me, which was very, very kind of him. So I think these are all books that maybe are due to be published next year. So one of them is Natasha Brown's latest. So she wrote the fantastic book Assembly, which I absolutely loved last year. I thought it was brilliantly written, and I think it won one of the awards, but I can't remember which one. It might have been Costa, can't remember. Or it might have been a debut, I don't know. It was her debut. And this one's called Universality, and I just love the neatness of it. Sometimes, I know I bang on about books being, people not reading enough lengthy novels, but sometimes it's really nice just to have a small, short, slight book in your bag. This is not due to be published until March next year, but it says, late one night on a Yorkshire farm, a man is brutally bludgeoned with a solid gold bar. I'm in. I am absolutely in. And it says on the back, remember, words are your weapons, they're your tools, your currency. Little bit of place. There's obviously some sort of money theme, symbolism, whatever going on in here. So yeah, looking forward to that. And then another one from the Faber book bag called The Boyhood of Cain by Michael Amherst. Again, I know absolutely nothing about this. This is due out in February next year. Oh, the 13th, that's daring, isn't it? Of February. If none of us can be as we want, then what's the point in anything? Very good question. He cannot believe his life should be prescribed for him, written out already. Ooh. A poignant debut novel about a boy on the precipice of adulthood, struggling to understand how he might give and deserve love. That sounds good as well. It sounds like it's described as an exceptional debut on the back. So yeah, that looks eminently readable. Interesting that the name is Cain, as in Cain and Abel. He murdered Abel, didn't he, Cain? Ooh. And then The City Changes Its Face by Eimear McBride. Now, I am really looking forward to reading this. So Eimear McBride wrote one of the early Women's Prize for Fiction winning books. Get it out in a minute. And it was called A Girl is a Half-Formed Thing, and I thought it was an absolute masterpiece. It's so beautifully written. And I don't think she's written many other books. I don't know. Does it say in here? But I certainly have never read anything else by her. So she wrote a novel called The Lesser Bohemians, which I know nothing about. So there we go. So this is only her third novel. So that, I feel a bit better about that. A bit better about it. I don't know. I am really, really looking forward to reading this anyway. Again, I don't know anything about it apart from the writer is wonderful. Day, another, London, city and world, there before me as you were. I still see you as I saw you and long to be you as I was you all the way over again. And that kind of, oh my goodness, look how it's written. So A Girl is a Half-Formed Thing was an extremely poetic, very sort of discombobulating prose, but beautiful and really discombobulating because it's trying to get you into the mind of the protagonist. So I really like that she's obviously really playing with literary form again. You see, I've started reading it. Starts with now. The city changes its face as I tap at my teeth. Rain going delinquent beyond in the street and all over him, closing the door. Sorry I'm late. Oh, you see, I could just sit and read this now as well. I'm very, very much looking forward to that. And I love what she does with language. And I'm sorry if I read it and made it sound a bit clunky when I was reading the bit on the back. I just wasn't really in the zone. Another Faber acquisition. Again, another one that's due out, again, the 13th of February 2025. May All Your Skies Be Blue by Fiona Scarlett. This has become quite a sort of popular way, hasn't it, of producing book covers. Very minimalist, and the pink and the blue. I've seen this before, I think, on other books. I just want to be with you. He laces his fingers through mine. We get to our weeping willow, sit ourselves in. The ground is 3-day rain soaked, but we just cuddle closer, our backs to the trunk, our hands entwined, our knees touching. That's very, what's the word? Sweet, isn't it? It's a really kind of sweet image of two people, and I don't know whether they're lovers or children. I can't decide. They could even be siblings. Summer 1999. Dean, sun-stung and sticky with cool ice pop juice, walks to the middle of the green to get a good gawk at the new salon and at the owner's kid. Hands deep in his pockets, his jet black mop of hair hides the tension in his face and shoulders at the thought of going back home. Ooh, sounds like there's going to be some strong characterisation in this novel. Yeah, one to look forward to. And again, I don't know anything about Fiona Scarlett, but she is an international best-selling author, so I probably should. And then I had a birthday at the beginning of the month, and when I saw Simon afterwards, he gifted me the wonderful Stephen Fry's Odyssey. I love the Odyssey. It's in my every cell, I feel, my every pore. Taught it for many, many years, and it still brings me joy, and I'm really looking forward to see what Stephen Fry has done with it. And I mean, what a beautiful cover. And of course we've got Odysseus's adventures inside. So this is an ancient Greek classic created, not written, by Homer, because he was actually telling his stories before writing was invented. I know. Can you imagine carrying all of this around in your head, like before we even wrote things down? It's mind-blowing, isn't it? Amazing what the human brain can do. But I'm looking forward to his interpretation, and my guess is that I will probably sit down and read this in very short bursts during the course of the year. It's that kind of book, because I know it really well. It's like an old friend, and I shall just enjoy dipping into it from time to time. I don't think I'm going to sit down and read it from cover to cover. I would if I'd never read it before, but I won't with this. I'll just dip in and enjoy every now and then, like a fine wine. And Simon also gifted me Robbie Arnott's Dusk, which I don't think is out in the UK yet. I think he actually had this imported from Australia, and I absolutely love. I've read several of Robbie Arnott's book. I've read the Rain Heron, and I've read another one, which the name of which escapes me at the moment. But he has become one of my absolute favourite writers. I just think his writing is stunning. And this one, it says, in the distant highlands, a puma named Dusk is killing shepherds. Down in the lowlands, twins Iris and Floyd are out of work, money and friends. When they hear that a bounty has been placed on Dusk, sorry, I'm trying to read without my glasses, which is terrible, isn't it? They reluctantly decide to join the hunt. As they journey up into the wild, haunted country, they discover there's far more to the land and people of the Highlands than they imagined. And this is what Robbie Arnott does so, so well, is he writes about the Indigenous community in Australia. He writes about the landscape and environmental questions. He's always got a kind of environmental perspective, which I really enjoy, and he makes his prose is just absolutely blindingly beautiful. Every single book, well, the two that I've read have really tapped into my soul, and I can't wait to read this. And actually that landscape, bizarrely, even though it's Australia, it reminds me a little bit of the part of Derbyshire that I grew up in. There's something really quite familiar. I always thought it was a bit primeval, the valley I grew up in, and that's got that kind of primeval thing going on. Oh, and it's signed. I'd forgotten that as well. It's actually signed by him, or at least it says it is. Is it? Yes, it is. Of course it is. There. And finally, the wonderful Susan Barker, who wrote a book called The Incarnations. It came out about 10 years ago, but I only read it quite recently. And because she'd seen me banging on about that book, it was my book of the month earlier in the year. Bless her, she got in touch and asked me if I'd like a copy of her latest novel. So Penguin have sent this. It's called Old Saul, or Old Soul, I'm guessing, actually, not Old Saul. Yes, Old Soul. The woman never goes by the same name. She never stays in the same place too long. She never ages, she never dies, but those around her do. So we've got this sense of, just like in The Incarnations, that was a book about a soul or a person re-emerging at different points in time. And it sounds to me like she's going to do something similar here. She's going to play around with time and the idea of somebody being able to move from one time to the next. I also think this is probably, there were elements of The Incarnations that were really horrific, and I'm not a horror fan, but I think this is going to be really disturbing and possibly could be described as a horror novel. But I am very, very much looking forward to it because her other book blew my mind. So thanks to Penguin and to Susan Barker for that. So that's my lovely, lovely haul of books. And I've also this month been visiting all the local libraries again. I realised that I used to go all the time with my children, but in more recent years I haven't really stepped into the library. I don't know why, it's just sort of gone out of kilter. So I've visited 3 of my local libraries this month, thoroughly enjoyed it, partly because I've started learning Italian earlier this year in September, and I'm really getting into it. So I don't really want to fork out for a massive Italian dictionary yet. So I've been sneaking in and using those. But also I've signed up to BorrowBox, which loads of you will go, why haven't you done that before, Louise? It's amazing. So it's the library's version, I suppose, of Audible, but of course all the books are free. So I thought I'd give that a go, and I've been listening to Julia by, oh my goodness, I've forgotten the woman's name, and I can't look it up because it's on my phone. What's she called? But anyway, it's a retelling of 1984 from the female perspective. And again, it's a book that I've picked up many, many times in bookshops and put it down again and not actually bought. And I think it's by no, it's called Julia. Who's it by? Anyway, I haven't bought it, and I'm quite glad I didn't, because it's okay, but I'm not really riveted by it yet. I've only listened to the first 4 or 5 chapters, so I'm going to give it a bit more space. But yeah, I don't know. It's grating on me, and I need to have a think about why. Hopefully I'll remember to fill you in on that not later today, when I next record a video. I really am rambling, musing, waffling now, aren't I? So anyway, I need to go, because tonight I am going to go and see one of my absolute favourite bands. In fact, probably my husband and I have seen them over and over again through the 25 years that we've been together. They're called Leipciger. They're a fantastic band from Scotland, and this may be their last tour, because the lead singer, Justin Curry, has got Parkinson's disease, and I didn't really think we'd see them perform again, but bless them, they're coming to Wolverhampton tonight, so we are going to dust off our dancing shoes and go and absolutely indulge ourselves in that tonight. So I need to go, because otherwise I'm not going to be ready and he's going to get cross. So take care, everybody. I'll shut up now and leave you in